The agriculture sector has experienced quite a few changes over the past couple of years, with one of them being the introduction of virtual tools meant to increase productivity through the roof. As such, farming can no longer be considered as a life away from the daily technological grind. And with reports that the population of the globe is set to increase by around 3 billion lives by 2050, it's no wonder that these tools came to be relied on. But what are the various modern technologies that have been able to increase the productivity of our farms, and how is it that they actually work? Well, whether you're a fan of the farming lifestyle or just want to know more about the methods and tools that farmers have come to adopt, stay right where you are, as we're about to explore everything there is to know about these virtual tools. So strap yourselves in and get ready for an informative ride, as things are about to get exciting. But before we get into it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on any of the new videos we post. Number 1. Geographic Information Systems based software. Although nobody really knows what the oldest profession is, there's no doubt that farming is right up there as a solid number 1 choice. It is, after all, as old as time itself. In fact, if you really think about it, the farming profession was responsible for the exiting of the hunter and gatherer phase of our ancestors. As human beings started to come together in larger groups, hunter and gatherer parties were not big enough to sustain these large populations. And since these groups could not split up, as there was clearly safety in numbers, a change needed to be made to ensure that everyone got the sustenance that they needed. This is when our ancestors decided to gather as many fruits, vegetables, and saplings as they could so that they could move them closer to their homesteads. And it was with this little thought that farming was brought into being, allowing large groups of people to be sustained without having to actually go into the woods and look for animals or berries to take home. As the population grew, so did the demand for food, resulting in farmers having to adapt and find ways to increase productivity. The tilling of land was one of these advancements, allowing farmers to realize that cattle could be used for a lot more than food. But it wasn't just the increase in population size that led to a bigger demand for sustenance. Slowly but surely, our ancestors began to use their minds more, and since a general lack of food and water leads to concentration difficulties, this was the number 1 need that needed to be taken care of. So without farming, it can be said that humanity would not have developed in the way that it did. To a large degree, the technological innovations of the world are all the results of farmers working hard to ensure that the citizens of their villages, homesteads, and towns remain satisfied and able to invent. And it looks like farmers have once more had to adapt due to the massive demand that has been placed on them in the past couple of years. Certain farming practices have had to be changed to account for the environmental damages that we are now aware of. And gone are the days where large farms are run as family affairs, with many being far too large for a family to run on its own. Starting a farm yourself can be even more difficult though, with the number 1 issue being whether you have chosen the right piece of land. But how do farmers pick the correct piece of land in the modern era? Well, this is what brings us to the first virtual tool on our list, which is none other than software based on geographic information systems, otherwise known as GIS software. For those of you who have not yet heard of GIS software, it can be said to be technology which is able to map current and future changes in precipitation, temperature, crop yields, and plant health, among other pieces of useful information. The benefits of using software such as this is pretty obvious. It's practically the same as having a reliable fortune teller at your side, allowing you to know which piece of land is perfect for crop yield in the coming days, allowing your new or old business to be an incredible success. Just think about how much easier it will be knowing that your piece of land is going to be receiving a specific amount of precipitation in the coming year. Suffice to say, GIS software is a virtual tool that allows farmers to increase their productivity tenfold. But relaying information to the farmer is just one way this virtual tool is able to raise productivity through the roof. As it turns out, the masterminds behind the newest and greatest pieces of farming machinery have taken to implementing GIS software into their new creations. This has the effect of enabling GIS-based applications to literally speak to the smart machinery that is often used on industrialized farms, allowing for the optimization of the process of, let's say, applying both fertilizer and pesticide when needed. The use of GIS software thus has the effect of saving the farmer both time and money. Once the farmer is aware that soil from a specific patch needs to be rested to retain and grow some nutrients, he can do so rather than overplanting and robbing the soil of everything it has. And it's for this reason that GIS software is often coupled with sustainable farming methods applications in general. It thus goes without saying that this virtual tool is definitely one that modern farmers want. Number 2. Satellite-driven data applications. As we've come to learn over the centuries, predictability is incredibly important when it comes to the success of a farm. As a farmer, there is nothing worse than getting hit by some or other surprise, as it's the smooth running of the business that truly results in an increase in productivity. But as it turns out, GIS software doesn't allow for a complete picture of productivity, which is why many farmers have also turned their attention towards applications that make use of satellite-derived data, like GIS systems. These applications can be used to predict crop yields over time, but also allow the farmer to take part in real-time field monitoring, which essentially allows him to keep an eye on a variety of threats that might be problematic. In other words, while GIS systems are predictive, satellite-derived data applications can be said to be observant as well. Mixing these two systems together presents the farmer with a real-time and future-centered model of prediction, which together can be used to maintain a farm in the best way possible. The great thing about these data applications is that they involve views of the Earth from a variety of different spectra, allowing the implementation of a number of different useful indices. These indices have become almost necessary to run a farm in the modern era, and can only be taken into consideration when using this virtual tool. This would include the Normalized Difference Vegetation Index, for example, which allows for the detection of vegetation content, number of plants currently wilting, and overall health of the crops currently being grown. Another incredible index of use is the Canopy Chlorophyll Content Index, which detects the amount of nitrogen that is currently being spread through the soil. The satellite-driven data application of your choice can essentially be used to attach these various indices to your specific land, obtaining the necessary data to help you ensure that it is on the path to success. In fact, some farmers have suggested that applications such as these have been responsible for increases in productivity of upwards of 200%. Not only do these virtual tools allow farmers to operate with more efficiency than they have ever controlled their crops with before, they also allow farmers to have a real-time view of their farms. And it goes without saying that when a farm is massive, this technology is an absolute must. Number 3. Drone-acquired data. The only problem that modern farms that rely on only GIS systems and satellite-derived data applications run into is the fact that there is no close observation of their various crop yields. There's no doubt that they have a predictive model that makes use of all the data in the world, but what is missing is an actual view of the farm from a first-person perspective, and this is why many farmers end up turning to drones in an effort to fulfill this growing need of theirs. For those of you who don't know, drones are remote-controlled machines that often have viewing capabilities and are extremely useful when it comes to the real-time, close-up inspection of a specific problem that a farmer's data is informing him about. With the assistance of drones, farmers from all over are able to get this necessary perspective, allowing them to define crop biomass, plant height, the presence of weeds, and water saturation without ever having to leave the confines of their control room. It goes without saying that the data derived from these drones is considered to be a lot more accurate than that derived from a satellite due to the close-up nature of the virtual process. It must also be said that when these drones are locally operated, they also provide valuable information a lot faster than any scouts could. Any information gathered is just a start of how useful these machines can be. Some farmers, for example, have adopted the use of drones to apply insecticides on certain areas rather than using crop dusters, as was the case in the past. This allows other crops to remain healthy, while only the problematic ones are tackled with precision, increasing productivity in a flash. Since these drones are next to useless when it comes to the mapping of a larger area though, these virtual tools are best used alongside GIS systems and satellite-derived data applications. It's in this complementary nature that we find the most productivity when it comes to modern farms. Number 4. The application of EOS crop monitoring. Last but not least, it must be said that the Earth Observation System has created another virtual tool which is starting to pick up some steam on the agricultural market. This EOS monitoring system, as it has come to be called, allows farmers to obtain high-resolution satellite images of their farms, which is a lot sharper than what can be found in other forms of satellite-derived data applications. Suffice to say, this cuts out the middleman by allowing the farmer to get close-up images without the use of drones. The digital platform also allows the farmer to speed up his decision-making processes so as not to miss any crucial points of field treatment. In fact, it allows a farmer to assign multiple tasks to scout with just a few clicks of a mouse, allowing for real-time, accurate problem-solving, perfect for the modern farmer. What do you think about these virtual tools though? Be sure to let us know in the comments section down below.